Good day, artisans. How are you doing? Today I have a treat for you. We are making a lighter and a keychain set. It's a very special and luxurious set for me because I've made pens my whole life, so this is something new. The lighter mechanism that I will be using for this project is manufactured by Zorro, and it is model 607. Right now you can see me planning how I am going to make this. I haven't made a lighter before, so I need to think how, what, where, when am I going to do this. Here you can see the cotton. And I also want to incorporate a rubber band around the design for one simple reason, and that's because I'm not going to glue the wood onto the body because I want it to be interchangeable and you should be able to take it off to polish and so on in the future. I also want to make a small accent band for the lighter, and I'm going to make this with stainless steel so that it doesn't scratch over time and it can be polished to a bright shine. This is the wood I want to use for this project. It's red flame box elder Burl wood. I have a small piece that I want to use for the keychain as well. And I just thought this wood was fitting because it has the word flame in its name, and flame, lighter, it just goes. And of course, every project starts by cutting the stock to size. It's interesting, when you cut box elder, it smells very peculiar. It has a striking smell. I think it's because it's spalted. It smells very much the same like spalted maple, almost identically. But it's not a bad smell. It's fun to work with. Now we need to drill our stock so that it can accept the sleeve I want to use for this. The sleeve is about 12.7 millimeters in diameter. And well, this is the closest drill I have, which is 12.5. So we are 0.2 short. So we are going to have to drill and ream. Onto the drill press. You can see this 12.5 drill is quite big. This is a 13 millimeter chuck, so it fits just. Now I want you to pay attention to my drilling technique. What I do is I peck drill at least like 10 times, and I'm constantly adjusting. Okay, we are done with the drilling, and now let's test fit the sleeve. As you can see, that sleeve is not going in. 0.2 millimeters doesn't sound like a big difference, but it is. That thing is not going in there, and you also cannot press it in because the material will just crack. This is my technique for reaming wooden material barrels. What I do is I use a internal threading tool. This is a very small threading tool, so I can only take very, very light cuts. And now it's time for our test fit, and well, it barely goes in, maybe needs another cut or two. But after a few minutes of fiddling around, voila. Now I'm just facing off the material so that it is the same length as the sleeve itself. So far so good. Now we need to turn down the material so that it is the same diameter as the lighter mechanism. Voila, we are done. Just some quick cleaning with acetone so that the sleeve goes on smoothly, and we can continue to the stainless steel band. Here we start by facing the material of the stock because we are not animals. And I also just want to make sure that we are on center. Let's listen to what the live center has to say. Now, even for a seemingly small and simple piece like this, it does require all the steps that you would use in a large part. So we do need to start with the center drill. And once we are on center, I continue to my 3mm drill. I use this drill mainly for making pilot holes. I like working in increments of 3. It works well for my lathe. So now I go on to the 6mm drill. So you think we should be using the 9mm drill now, but the grind is not very good on that one, so I'm going to use the 8mm drill. Just don't tell anyone, and we should be fine. Now onto our last drill. I think this is a 11 and it's quite big, so slow RPM and hopefully nobody dies and we'll be fine. My drill was also slightly undersized, so a little bit of reaming is required to get the final dimension. Now it's just a basic turning operation to get the ring down to the diameter we need. I decided to polish the ring on the stock before cutting it off, just because it's going to be much easier. And here's our ring. As you can see, it is a little bit rough and it needs some post-processing. Work with some emery paper and some deburring and we are looking good. Now for the moment of truth, let's see if she fits. There we go, perfect. Now here you can clearly see what my idea is with the O-ring. So our sleeve is a little bit longer than the sleeve of the lighter mechanism. And when we screw down the bottom cap, it's going to give us the tension that we want. Now I just need to install a new wick and some kind of suspension medium for the fuel. I'm going to insert the absolutely tiny piece of flint. Now we can start doing some planning on our keychain. First things first, we need to cut our brass to size. And voila, perfect. Now this is the piece of wood that I want to use. It's also box elder and it's very spalted, much more than the other piece. So let's see how it turns out. Same process as before. We drill the material, then we true it up a bit, and then we can move on to the lathe. This piece, however, is very charred and it does require constant stabilization with thin super glue, otherwise it will just crack right open. I discovered this large hole in the material and that's not going to fly. It is definitely going to crack. So I'm going to fix that with some gold mica powder and some very light viscosity super glue, and that always fixes the problem. And the major diameter is quite small also. I'm going to finish on the master lathe because I want it to be perfectly straight. Otherwise it's going to look kind of odd. Now we are basically done with the material. We just need to press the top and bottom cap into place and we are done. Now we can proceed to presentation. Here you can see the clips, as I like to call them. I designed them in Blender and they are the perfect size just for the lighter and the keychain. Now I just need to build the presentation box and we can get some beauty shots.